He was just an F-rank warrior, weak, overlooked, practically a joke, until he awakened a system. Not just any system. This one powers him up only when his opponents get dirty. The stronger their lust, the stronger he becomes. And when their lust index maxes out, boom, he levels up hard. But that's not all. The system also grants him weapons, not your typical blades either. Think swords that explode clothes on contact. So yeah, this manhwa is about my guy, Sarah's, women, big boobs, even bigger boobs, plus feet, stockings, and way too much leg for anyone to stay holy. Enjoy the chaos. Sarah's, an upright man, explains that he recently activated a system which stirs the deepest lust of anyone he locks onto. The scene then shifts to a chaotic battlefield where adventurers are fleeing, having realized they were lured into a trap by unexpectedly high-level monsters. Sayers, on the other hand, explained that at first he didn't want this system, but this battle changed his mind, especially Demon King's wife, Princess Yogg, a powerful female monster who easily overpowers a human hero, questioning the feebleness of human power. Sayers encounters an injured D-class hero, Bella, who urges him, an F-grade hero, to flee due to the dangerous Warcraft levels. However, Sayers declares he came to protect the city and cannot retreat, confidently stating he can handle Princess Yogg. The princess, meanwhile, dismisses humans as too weak to interest her. Sayers, resolute despite a sudden nosebleed, reaffirms his decision not to run, which surprises Bella. As Yogg's minions spot Sayers, she orders them to kill him and intends to use his head as a drinking cup for her king. At this moment, Sayers' login system, I love the man before me, activates. Yogg lunges, and as she grabs him, the system locks on and activates, compelling her to kiss him. This act grants Sayers one bonus attack point, making him realize his system can continuously enhance his abilities. Bella and Yogg's minions watch in stunned disbelief. Yogg, confused by her own actions, wonders why she kissed him instead of killing him. Sayers, emboldened, proclaims his readiness to fight to the end for the city's safety. Yogg's minions begin to gossip about the kiss and rumors of her having a human lover, though a loyalist among them scolds the others. Yogg, flustered, silently hopes her king never discovers the incident, feeling her heart race strangely. She then commands her minions to kill Sayers. Sayers engages a minion, but his sword shatters on impact. He notes his attack power increased by 1 point, though his defense remains unchanged. He manages to send a minion flying, impressing Bella, who marvels at his unexpected strength. Sayers, however, feels he should have done more damage, as the monster only received a scratch. Before he can react further, Princess Yogg attacks him from above. Her minions cheer, believing she has him, and Bella cries out in alarm. However, Yogg suddenly stops her attack and orders everyone to halt, declaring she will teach Sayers a lesson herself, her lust index now at 91%. Her minions eagerly agree as she leans in and licks Sayers' ear, granting him 50 defense points. Sayers internally questions this humiliating price for power, but resolves that such an insult is minor compared to the safety of the city's residents. Yogg reflects on her strange behavior while Sayers, feeling his body act against his will, exclaims in confusion. Another system notification grants him 120 agility points. One of Yogg's minions correctly deduces she is searching for the weak spot in his body. Sayers, seeing his defense 120 and attack power 150 increase, believes he might now be strong enough to be able to handle these demonic beasts. He lunges at Yogg, declaring it's his turn, but realizes his current strength is still insufficient. Seeing this, one of Yogg's minions, now convinced of her intent to kill Sayers, rallies the others. Yogg, feeling her body growing stranger, resolves to hold back, but then decides to strip Sayers, tearing off his chest armor to show humans the difference between their bodies and monsters, though she inwardly admits she wants to see his body. Her minions praise her ruthlessness. Sayers' armor is gone. He tries to resist as her hand reaches for him. She feels something welling up inside her, determined to endure, as her lust value hits 1%. Yogg then pins him down, her weight surprising him. He cries out in frustration, realizing his strength is still not enough to defeat her. Bella, watching from a distance, blushes and wonders if they are truly fighting. Sayers, for the sake of the city, resigns himself to sacrificing his little self for the greater good. He then grabs Yogg's head, pulling her towards him, shouting for her to bring it on, as he just has more power and stats. Numerous stat boosts appear: agility +2, defensive +3, concentration +450, sense +7, intelligence +830, endurance +9, magic power 10, and attack power +11. Suddenly, a massive horned figure, Demon Lord Bartley, appears, shocking Yogg. The system announces, detected Demon Lord Bartley, critical hit received. All bonus values are doubled and increased by level +1. Bartley addresses Yogg as his beloved wife and declares his intent to kill Yogg. She panicked, tries to explain to the king that it's not what it looks like. Ceres, now visibly more muscular and holding a new, empowered sword, silently wonders if his current enhanced level will be enough to face this new threat. The Demon Lord Bartley, an A-level entity, fiercely attacks Ceres, demanding he stay away from his wife, Princess Yogg. Though injured, Ceres manages to hold on, noting Bartley's instantaneous arrival and formidable attack power. Bartley then turns to Yogg, questioning her recent actions and reminding her of a previous promise. Yogg, however, deflects the blame onto Bartley, accusing him of tardiness, which nearly led her to repeat past mistakes. Bartley quickly apologizes, explaining he was delayed by dealing with fleeing humans. His minions observe the exchange, remarking on the king's deep affection for the queen and his willingness to admit fault. Meanwhile, Ceres, recognizing the vast power difference between himself and Bartley, decides it's best to discreetly make his escape while they are distracted. Yogg then begins to cry, reiterating that Bartley's late arrival caused her to be tempted by Ceres, almost sullying their pure love. Bartley comforts her, reaffirming his devotion and placing all blame on Ceres, whom he now vows to kill. Meanwhile, Yogg playfully says that he is her one true love, and even in death they will return to nothingness together, and she loves the majestic and domineering demeanor of him. After listening that Bartley's attention shifts to his minions, berating them for not stopping the escaping humans. They remind him that Princess Yogg had previously ordered them not to interfere, to which Bartley calls them brainless. Turning his rage back to Ceres, Bartley launches another assault, accusing Ceres of seducing Yogg. Ceres takes severe damage, suspecting broken ribs and acknowledging Bartley's overwhelming speed and power, concluding he is completely outmatched. As Bartley prepares a finishing blow, intent on splitting him in two parts as punishment for his perceived transgression, Ceres realizes his only recourse is to continue upgrading his abilities through his system, urging it to lock on quickly. Unexpectedly, Yogg rushes forward, shielding Ceres and urging Bartley not to harm him. Bartley is stunned by her intervention. The system registers, Demon King Bartley has suffered another severe mental blow, granting him another level up. Ceres momentarily wonders if he can win and considers retreating further. However, Yogg then declares her intense desire for Ceres' body, shocking Bartley, who reminds her of her vows of eternal love to him. Overwhelmed, Yogg exclaims she can no longer bear it, and she doesn't want to express desire anymore. She then pounces on Ceres, and their contact triggers a series of stat boosts for him. Vitality, concentration, attack power, perception, and agility all increase, though Ceres feels utterly at her mercy. Witnessing this, Bartley blames his own inadequacy for Yogg being taken advantage of by a human and resolves to kill Ceres to restore her to normal. Yogg, however, furiously tells Bartley to leave and not to disturb her quality time. The system announces that Demon King Bartley is broken, gains another 5 levels. At this critical moment, Bella reappears, intervening and demanding the shameless monster Yogg release Ceres. Ceres warns Bella that it's too dangerous for her to get involved as she attacks Yogg. Yogg easily strikes Bella down. Yogg then reflects on her own perplexing behavior, feeling like she's no longer herself, yet admitting to a little joy deep within. Bartley, utterly devastated by Yogg's actions and words, accuses her of repeatedly lying to him. Enraged and heartbroken, he attacks Yogg, calling her a bitch, and decides to kill them both. As the Demon King attacks, Yogg calmly turns to face him. At the last moment, he stopped and tearfully professed that he still loves her so much. The system then announces that Demon King Bartley is experiencing a complete mental breakdown and is about to self-destruct. Yogg anxiously asks Bartley what he intends to do. His minions, realizing the imminent danger, panic and decide to flee for their lives. As Bartley's self-destruction sequence begins, Ceres' level increases to 10 and a new skill, Instant Slash, is unlocked. By this skill, you can transform your physical body into a phantom and instantly appear around your target within a 6-foot radius. Then you can launch a slash against your target. Sears utilizes his newly unlocked skill, transforming into a phantom and striking Bartley. The attack successfully halts Bartley's self-destruction. Sears considers that further upgrades should grant him more skills. Princess Yogg, observing the outcome, remarks that Bartley was much cooler last time. She thought he would be even. Calmer this time, questioning, how come he collapsed? Bartley, however, seizes Yogg, insisting she honor her promise to die with him. Yogg desperately struggles, proclaiming her unwillingness to die and crying out for rescue. In the process, she even releases Bella. Sears intervenes with another swift body slash. Bartley, however, explodes. The force of the impact causes the ground beneath them to shatter, and they all plummet downwards. Sears finds himself wondering if he's reached the dungeon's bottom. He then spots Yogg, who has transformed into a teenage salamander form with critically low magic and health. Bella then appears on top of Sears. At that moment, Sears' system announces the successful defeat of Demon Lord Bartley and rewards him with the Neye dungeon map, prompting him to decide whether to open it. But he couldn't, because if he taped on yes, he'll some undescribable parts of Bella. Bella, after realizing, offers an apology before inquiring about Sears. While Bella was embarrassed, Sears contemplates the decision, touches the yes option on the system interface only he can see. The map opens, clearly marking dead ends, traps, resource locations, and boss rooms, much to Sears' realization that the entire dungeon layout is now visible to him. Pleased with this development, Sears remarks that he can now proceed directly to the boss room without fear of getting lost. Bella, confused, asks what he's referring to and if he saw something. Sears dismisses her question, knowing the system is visible only to him, and they agree to move on. However, as they begin to leave, Sears suddenly cries out in intense pain. His back appears to be melting, and Bella, noticing the bleeding, tries to lift him to prevent further abrasion against the ground. She observes that his body is incredibly hot, as if he's been burned. After a moment of heavy panting, Sears assures her he's all right. Once Sears sits up, Bella presses him about the strange melting of his body. Sears then reveals he is poisoned and begins to recount an incident from 6 months prior when monsters attacked the city. He had witnessed several monsters battling a hero from the guild, seemingly over a box, which was eventually slashed open by one of the creatures. Continuing his story, Sears explains he was thrown into some ruins by the force of their battle. Shortly after, a blood rain with a pungent, sickening odor began to fall from the sky. Although he wasn't in direct contact, having taken shelter amongst the rocks, the mere smell of the blood rain was enough to poison him, causing an agonizing sensation as if his back were melting. He concludes his flashback by stating he later woke up in a hospital, where a doctor informed him he had at most 1 year left to live. It was then that a system prompt appeared, offering to bind with him, make him a player, and provide clues to acquire the blood of the demon god, the only thing that could cure his poison. He accepted, and the system revealed that the cure was located within the Neye dungeon. Returning to the present, Sears tells Bella that he subsequently learned the antidote was indeed in this very dungeon. He then notices a nearby room indicated on his map that contains clothes and weapons, suggesting they head there first, to which Bella agrees. A crusade squad, led by Vice Captain Tyre, B-Class, cautiously navigates a corridor where Tyre shouts for everyone to step back, warning of a trap mechanism. He instructs them to remain still, explaining that reckless movement could trigger other traps, especially since their strongest defender, Claude, was easily killed by the trap mechanism. The squad members express concern about how to proceed now that the cannon fodder group, presumably sent ahead as bait, is gone, leaving them with no one to test the path. Captain Cyrus, A-grade, then arrives and, invoking old rules, declares that the lowest grade member must go first. He orders Ma Kui, D-grade, to walk ahead and find the correct route, implicitly threatening him with the consequences of disobedience. Vice Captain Tyre attempts to buy time by suggesting to use a specially made bouncing arrow to scout for trap mechanisms, hoping to increase chances of Ma Kui's survival. Captain Cyrus, however, angrily slashes his arrow, warning him against presenting such shoddy creations again and threatening to kill him if he does. He forcefully orders Ma Kui to get up and explore the way. Trembling, Makuai slowly advances, hesitating at each step as he tries to determine a safe path. Another squad member impatiently urges him to hurry and not waste everyone's time. Makui continues, but eventually collapses, exclaiming that he can't go on and doesn't want to die, wishing he could go home. Suddenly, an energy beam erupts from below, striking Makuai, and that was one-shot kill. A squad member notes the attack came from beneath, speculating that the mechanism's attack location might change each time, and that the beam's sudden appearance makes it impossible to perceive its origin, making it impossible to dodge. What do you think will happen next? Nothing interesting. Squad captain again asks the lowest one to come out. Just then, someone shouts that a door is opening. Captain Cyrus turns to see Cirrus and Bella emerging from the newly opened doorway, much to his surprise. Recognizing them as members of the decoy team, which he believed should have been eliminated, Captain Cyrus questions why they are there and if Cirrus disobeyed his orders to escape and end up here. He angrily confronts Cirrus, demanding to know why he's still alive. Vice Captain, relieved after seeing Bella, and asks her if she is okay. The scene then flashes back to one day before departure, where Captain Cyrus is furiously questioning Cirrus about how he knew the color of his wife's underwear. Cirrus explains he was training his instincts for the upcoming battle, allowing him to perceive the colors of things around him. Another squad member tries to calm the captain, reminding him that killing people in the city is illegal. Cyrus, however, demands Cirrus explain his relationship with his wife, Shukin, or face death, accusing Cirrus's integrity. To prove his abilities, Cirrus proceeds to reveal the underwear colors of other squad members, one wearing pink and another wearing none, while also pointing out two members wearing matching couple underwear. Enraged, a squad member urges the captain to kill Cirrus. Another advises against it, warning of trouble if a body is discovered in the city, then suggests that Cirrus be placed in the bait group to eliminate him without direct involvement. Returning to the present, Cirrus explains he was merely circling around to exchange equipment when he encountered the raiding party, who seemed to be lost. Captain Cyrus, recognizing Cirrus, orders him to come over, intending for him to lead the way through the mechanisms. However, Vice Squad Captain interjects, suggesting that since Cirrus and Bella made it through alive, they should simply follow their route to avoid further risk to the team. However, Captain Cyrus dismisses the suggestion, stating they've already lost dozens of valuable combat members in this C-grade dungeon and cannot turn back, and suggests him to leave if he doesn't like that. Cyrus tells Cirrus that his trained intuition should now be used to contribute to the team, reminding him of the consequences of disobedience. Cirrus opens the map given by the system as the reward. Bella, alarmed, tells Cirrus not to go, pointing out the clear danger and suggesting they find another way. Cirrus, however, tells her not to worry, stating he'll be fine as the captain has already ordered him to go over there. He then confidently steps forward, following the directions on his map. Go forward 3 spaces, then turn left 2 spaces, then go forward 3 spaces. The squad members watch in disbelief as Cirrus takes his first steps without hesitation. One remarks on his luck as he reaches the 3rd step unharmed. Cirrus then turns left and takes 2 more steps, prompting questions about whether he knows the right path. Another squad member scoffs, stating that an F-grade hero wouldn't have access to intelligence, especially since gathering information on just the first half of the dungeon cost over a dozen intelligence agents, concluding it must be luck. Cirrus then jumps a step and lands safely, merely wobbling a bit. Captain Cyrus watches intently, questioning why the mechanism hasn't been triggered. Cirrus's map then instructs him to go forward 5 spaces. As he approaches the end of the trapped corridor, he remarks that he's almost there. The squad observes in amazement as he nears their position. Cirrus arrives unharmed, not a single mechanism triggered. The squad members are astonished, wondering if he truly sensed the traps through intuition. Cirrus proudly declares it the result of his training, also proclaiming his and Shukin's innocence. Captain Cyrus, however, dismisses it as mere luck, asserting that luck will eventually run out and orders Cirrus to lead the way from that point forward. As Cirrus and the Crusade squad traverse the dungeon, Cirrus spots some mushrooms, identifying them as kale mushrooms, which benefit monsters but cause diarrhea in humans. So pick some mushrooms for Yogg, little lizard. Despite knowing the properties of mushrooms, Ceres is tempted by their delicious smell and considers a small lick. However, observing this, Captain Cyrus grabs one and eats it and angrily reminds Ceres that all resources in the conquered dungeon belong to the Heroes Guild and his crusade squad. Also warn him not to steal Anai loot without permission and order him to the front. Ceres, using his map, informs the captain that there are no traps behind the next door and they can proceed directly. Cyrus, irritated, states he won't risk his combat valuable team members and orders Ceres to open the door quickly. As the door begins to open, Cyrus warns everyone to stay alert. Suddenly, his stomach rumbles and he wonders what's wrong. He then tells the squad the door is open and to be vigilant for unexpected occurrences. A foul smell emanates from beyond the door, and Cyrus, realizing something is amiss, feels his stomach act up again. Cyrus asks Ceres what's in there. Clutching his stomach, Cyrus inwardly laments his ill-timed discomfort and suspects the mushrooms are the cause, worrying about potential leakage if he moves too intensely. At the same time, Ceres purposely announces to the squad that, from his observation, the area is riddled with traps. Suddenly, he shouts for his teammates to keep pace and run through together. Confused, one asks if there's something behind them and why they are running. Another member admits he doesn't know. The foul smell intensifies, and squad members, realizing it's poisonous and a mechanism is present, curses the monsters, remarking he knew it couldn't be safe. Other squad members also identify the poisonous smell and ask why this smell seems familiar. Captain Cyrus angrily asks them to stop talking nonsense and orders everyone to run or risk being poisoned. He then grabs Ceres, questioning his sudden sprint and asking if he knows the properties of the mushrooms. Ceres plays innocent and asks what's wrong. Another squad member, noticing the captain's distress, suggests he sit and rest. Cyrus, however, pulls himself together and orders everyone to keep moving forward. He then warns Ceres that if he dares to run again, he will be killed immediately, to which Ceres meekly agrees. Using his map, Ceres guides the team, pointing out specific tiles to avoid and directing them along a safe path. As they proceed, Captain Cyrus internally notes the lack of triggered mechanisms or monster encounters, observing that the further they go, the fewer traps there seem to be. He briefly wonders if Ceres has been there before, but dismisses the thought, reasoning that Ceres would have been eaten by the D-level monster at the entrance without the team's protection. He then muses that once they reach the boss room, Ceres will have no further value, regardless of his luck. Ceres tells them that if they go further, they should be nearing the big boss's room. Cyrus muses again that if we have already reached the boss room, then Ceres has reached the end here. As Ceres takes another step, Cyrus triggers a stone spike to crash down from the ceiling onto Ceres. Captain Cyrus remarks that an F-level dungeon explorer being crushed by a dungeon mechanism is quite a reasonable excuse they can make. However, the slab was unexpectedly destroyed by a monster who suddenly appeared, unintentionally saving Ceres. The monster instead hits Cyrus. However, Cyrus manages to block the attack. Otherwise, he would have died on the spot. As the monster lands on the ground, the impact causes the cave to collapse, separating Ceres with others. Ceres tries to find a way through rubbles, but then a purple-haired elf-like woman appears, looking down at him with disdain, wondering why a disgusting human is there. The battle commenced as a large mechanical scorpion puppet identified as a B+ rank creation of Sadiel appeared, prompting a leader referred to as VC Tier to order the tankers forward to block its advance and prevent it from breaking through their lines, while archers were commanded to open fire from the rear. Despite the continuous volley of arrows, the scorpion puppet let out a deafening roar and effortlessly repelled the projectiles with its sheer force, leading VC to exclaim that their initial attack had no effect. Captain Cyrus chided his troops for their fear-induced paralysis, urging them not to be intimidated by the monster's aura and reminding them that it was a single enemy they could overcome. Meanwhile, Ceres, still pondering the origin of a voice he'd heard, suddenly found himself facing the puppet's swift tail attack. Reacting quickly, he declared his intent to use his fist, boasting of its 3190 attack power, and successfully shattered the scorpion puppet with a single punch. Sadiel, an A+ rank monster, who acknowledged that he had destroyed one of her puppets. Ceres then mentioned that the antidote which can cure him was in the boss's room ahead, and possessing a map, he intended to escape directly to avoid further meaningless conflict. However, she quickly amended this, stating it didn't matter as she planned to discard anything touched by disgusting humans anyway, revealing she had initially intended for the puppet to twist off his head but would now have to do it herself. Ceres reacted with surprise, questioning if she was a female monster, to which Sadiel dismissively replied before declaring her intention to deal with him first and then eliminate the humans outside. Ceres retorted that his head wasn't so easily dispatched. Sadiel, expressing her disgust, stated she wouldn't touch his disgusting body and could handle the other humans with one hand. In response, Ceres proclaimed himself a hero dedicated to protecting humanity, vowing to fight her and block her path, even if it exhausted all his strength, just as a system activation was indicated. Sadiel questioned his resolve and lunged, managed to catch Ceres. As Ceres struggled against Sadiel, a target locked notification appeared alongside an 168 agitation value. Other side, one of the warriors excitedly pointed out to the others that the monster's head had turned red, suggesting their attacks were finally having an effect. But it was just the Ceres' system doing the work. Sadiel moved with incredible speed, impressing him, but she coolly stated that while his reaching her was impressive for a human, his progress ended there, adding that Lord Nay detested humans entering his room. Determined, Ceres recognized her overwhelming strength and resolved that he absolutely had to stop her from reaching the outside, leading him to lick her foot. Sadiel reacted with extreme revulsion, calling him disgusting for touching her feet, but she was also feeling good. On the other side, everyone was overpowered by the monster, but Bella's focus was still in Ceres, observing the lack of movement in the rubbles. However, she also knew that Ceres wouldn't be incapacitated by mere stones and declared she needed to retrieve him. She asked the voice captain, Dirtier, to provide cover while she attempted the rescue. Dirtier tried to stop her, but it was too late. She was already on the way, and when the monster tried to attack her, he was able to save her. On the other hand, Sadiel let out a shriek of disgust as Ceres burst free from her grip. Coughing, Ceres stated he had finally broken free, enraging Sadiel further. She furiously declared that he had dared to make her feet filthy and vowed to make him pay the price for his actions. A system notification informed Ceres that he couldn't use his instant kill skill without a weapon, causing him to curse his oversight and realize he was now limited to using his fists as he charged towards Sadiel. Sadiel retaliated by kicking Ceres in the face, remarking on its pulpy texture and the satisfying feeling of the kick while her agitation value went 54%. Momentarily flustered, Sadiel wondered about her unusual reaction, but quickly refocused on the need to eliminate Ceres swiftly, concerned that the other humans might intrude upon Lord Nay's room. As she used her power to control the monster tail to attack Ceres, Ceres observed her advance, confident his agility would allow him to dodge. Ceres channeled magic into his hands and was able to destroy the tails, however was caught again. Sadiel warned him that she wouldn't let him escape this time and intended to strangle him with her feet. Ceres, however, challenged her to experience the power of his grip. As he squeezed her leg, Sadiel cried out, and a notification indicated her defense had increased by 130, and then she steps on his face. Ceres yelped in pain as Sadiel, infuriated, ordered him not to touch her legs with his dirty hands, and her reformed scorpion tail struck him down. Lying on the ground, Ceres observed that the tail he had previously broken was active again, and that Sadiel's suppressive power was too strong for him to evade. Sadiel then declared her intention to crush his head. As she stood over him, system messages indicated increases to Ceres' stamina, perception, and magic. Sadiel, with a strange expression of pleasure, wondered why stepping on him felt so good and mused about stepping all over his body to explore the sensations, her agitation value now at 66%, before asserting that humans were merely born to be trampled. Bro is seriously suffering from success. Meanwhile, outside, the large mechanical scorpion puppet began to shake. A warrior voice captain excitedly declared that the monster was losing its balance and that they were on the verge of victory. Back with Sadiel and Ceres, a notification announced an increase in his attack power by 240 while Sadiel was having the time of her life. The agitation value climbed to 89%. Back outside, a warrior urgently warned Bella that the scorpion's tail was heading her way. The tail struck Bella, prompting VC to shout her name. Bella was sent flying and fell behind Cyrus. Beneath Sadiel's foot, a blushing Cirrus pleaded for her to wait, insisting she wasn't allowed to touch him there. Sadiel continued to press down on Cirrus. Outside, the scorpion tail attacked Cyrus once more. However, the monster missed, but Cyrus didn't even dodge. He noted its ability to penetrate the wall even from a distance, deducing the monster's rank exceeded that of an elite. Sadiel, still focused on Cirrus, again commented on the pulpy and great sensation, the agitation value now at 95%. Cyrus then realized with alarm that he hadn't perceived the monster's movement as its pincers closed in for an attack. He felt it was too late to block, while Sadiel let out a pleased sound. They stopped and Cyrus thought that he had blocked the attack. But why did the monster stop? It's because it's controlled by Sadiel, and she, right now, is having the time of her life. Seizing the opportunity as the monster recoiled, Cyrus prepared his roaring tiger, severing strike. His powerful attack landed, visibly damaging the mechanical scorpion. His comrades cheered for Captain Cyrus, praising his might and exclaiming that a single strike had severely wounded the A-rank monster. As the agitation value hit 98%, Sadiel let out another sound, and the mechanical scorpion screamed, but not from the force of Cyrus's blow, because of Sadiel. The warriors celebrated, hailing Captain Cyrus's true strength and feeling secure in his presence. Cyrus, however, observed that this particular monster didn't seem exceptionally strong and believed he could defeat it easily, while Sadiel made a soft, satisfied noise. Cyrus commanded the others to stand back, announcing his intention to deal with the monster himself and demonstrate the strength of an A-rank captain. Sadiel, internally conflicted and flustered by her own reactions, questioned what was happening to her as she found herself engaging in such acts with a human body, trying to regain her composure. Beneath her, Ceres noted her surprising resilience, particularly her legs, and worried that if the current situation continued, she would completely drain him of his strength. He defiantly vowed never to submit, prompting Sadiel to angrily tell him to shut up, as she didn't want to hear his voice, while system notifications indicated substantial increases to Ceres's vitality, stamina, and concentration. Meanwhile, outside, Cyrus unleashed his sacred whirlwind slash against the large mechanical scorpion, which let out a roar. His men cheered enthusiastically, exclaiming that their captain's signature skill was too strong and had beaten the monster to the point of unconsciousness, causing it to roar uncontrollably, with one even crudely stating the captain had fucked the monster with his final strike. Cyrus, standing amidst the aftermath, declared the monster was nothing but a punching bag before him and had been defeated with a single strike, earning more adulation from his troops. Cirrus, on the other hand, getting a continuous increase to his own defense, agility, and perception. Coming back, Cyrus got full of himself and boasted that he was just too strong. The commotion reached Ne, the boss. Sadiel, who recognized the voice of Ne-sama, falls back, recalling Ne-sama's command, and realizing her lapse, resolved to quickly kill the filthy humans to make amends for her mistake. However, now it was too late. Cirrus had got a 10,000 attack power boost, asking if she still wished to continue playing. Sadiel sensed a completely different, chilling, and oppressive pressure emanating from Cirrus. She found herself questioning if she truly had to fight against someone like him. Deciding against it, she turned and fled. Cirrus, observing Sadiel's fleeing, briefly considered whether to pursue her, but ultimately decided against it, prioritizing his main objective, obtaining the blood of the demon god in the boss room. He reasoned it was better not to consume more physical strength, especially since his encounter with Sadiel had already taken a significant toll. In the background, Cyrus's men continued to laud their captain's supposed invincibility. As Bella approached the pile of rocks, Ceres came out, prompting her to inquire if he was all right, and expressing concern that, despite no visible injuries, he might have internal ones due to being covered in dust, suggesting the medical team take a look. Ceres assured her he was completely fine, but Bella insisted he let her know immediately if he felt unwell, to which he agreed. Witnessing all of this, the voice captain who likes Bella was pissed. Cyrus then rallied his men, instructing them to follow him as he intended to defeat the boss alone, proclaiming his might. He privately mused that the dungeon's danger level was probably D rank at best, and reporting his achievements would surely lead to a promotion, a significant gain. In the boss room, Sadiel knelt before Ne-sama, reporting the presence of a very powerful human outside, whose initially feeble strength had skyrocketed to an unimaginable extent in an instant, cautioning Ne-sama to be careful. Ne-sama coldly interrupted, asking Sadiel what her command to her had been. Sadiel dutifully recited her order to guard the door and prevent any creatures from entering her room. Ne-sama then pointedly asked what then she was doing there, stating she didn't want to hear her lame excuses. Before Sadiel could fully respond, she struck her down, the dungeon boss Ne now fully revealed. As Sadiel fell, Ne-sama declared she had simply become firewood and throw her on the pile of corpses. Sadiel, in her final moments, lamented that she didn't want to die yet. Ne-sama continued, stating that after waiting so long and using thousands of humans and monsters as firewood, the blood of the demon god had finally begun to boil. She then turned, sensing an intrusion, and questioned who was brave enough to set foot in her room. Cyrus stepped forward, boldly announcing that, "Your daddy has come to beat the hell out of you." A system notification appeared for Cyrus, stating that the blood of the demon god could eliminate toxins in the body after consumption, leading Cyrus to realize that this was the very thing that could detoxify him. Ne-sama, observing Cyrus, wondered if this was the powerful human Sadiel had mentioned. Cyrus then addressed his men, ordering them to listen clearly. No one was allowed to act without his command, as he intended to take down the C-rank dungeon boss by himself. His men erupted in cheers, urging Captain Cyrus to kill the boss and show the monster the power of humans. Cyrus charged at Ne, shouting for the monster to feel his terror. Ne met the charge with a powerful counterattack that sent Cyrus flying, his armor shattering upon impact. Cyrus's men cried out his name in alarm. Ne, unimpressed, remarked that this was all the most powerful human being had to offer and called Sadiel useless. Cyrus, recovering, noted that the attack's power was nonsensical, having shattered his A-rank armor in one blow. He acknowledged that he was fortunate to be wearing the S-level soft dragon scale armor his brother had given him. Otherwise, he would have certainly perished. His men rushed to his side, questioning the situation and the disparity in strength among the monsters. Cyrus, realizing a direct confrontation was unwise, decided it was better to use his team members to exhaust the monster's strength first, planning to re-engage when Ne was weakened, thus increasing his own chances of winning. Cyrus then commanded everyone to follow his orders, instructing all members to charge forward and showcase their expertise. Bella, however, interjected, expressing concern that a full charge without formation could result in unnecessary casualties, and suggested they stick to their previous formation with tankers in front. Cyrus angrily questioned if she was defying his judgment or commands, and when she denied it, he curtly told her to stop talking and just do as he said. He then rallied all members to pick up their weapons and charge, assuring them he was their solid support. As the humans rushed forward, Nae commented on the arrival of a bunch of fucking humans who don't know whether to live or die, adding that their flesh and blood didn't even qualify as sacrificial firewood, and then that went light. She wanted them to understand the despair-inducing disparity between humans and monsters. Nae then unleashed a devastating wave of energy that swept through the charging warriors, instantly disintegrating a small plant, many of them amidst cries of pain. She then mockingly asked Cyrus if he hadn't said he would make her feel terror. Cyrus, witnessing the slaughter, realized he couldn't win and ordered a retreat, telling those still alive to leave. Cyrus, however, confronted Cyrus, grabbed his arm and reminded him that he had just declared himself their solid support, and that his battle with the boss wasn't over, so he couldn't leave yet. Cyrus retorted that as team captain, his word was law, and if Cyrus wanted to stay and die, he was free to do so, but shouldn't drag him along. As Cyrus tried to flee, Nae, observing his attempt to escape after trespassing and causing havoc, prepared another attack. Cyrus frantically warned Cyrus that the boss was about to unleash the same light beam as before. Cyrus struggled, complaining that he couldn't pull his hand out due to Cyrus's strong grip, and desperately yelled for Cyrus to let go as the boss was aiming its attack at them. He lamented that he couldn't defeat the boss and couldn't even overcome a worthless F rank like Ceres. Nai's beam struck Cyrus, who screamed in pain. Ceres sternly told Cyrus that as the captain, he must stick to his words and be a solid support for his team members, blocking the boss's attacks with his body to cover their retreat. Cyrus was vaporized by the blast, his tattered armor falling to the ground near his teammates. Ceres then declared it was his turn. Amidst the fleeing teammates, Bella stated that she wanted to stay, and Tyre added that he also would, explaining to Bella that he knew she was staying because of Ceres. Tyre then proclaimed himself the first-ranked B-class hero, whose duty was to eliminate monsters and never run away, adding that he no longer wanted to take commands from an idiot like Cyrus. Nay, observing that Ceres hadn't fled even after witnessing her power, questioned if she was being looked down upon, but before anything, Ceres launched a swift body slash. Nae, commenting on Ceres' incredible speed, dodged the attack, and then she was met with another surprise, that Ceres wasn't in plane to attack her. He made a direct dash towards the altar, exclaiming that his antidote, the blood of the demon god, was within reach. Nae, surprised by Ceres' sudden change in direction, realized that his opponent's goal might not be to kill her, but rather to obtain the blood of the demon god. This is the moment we find out that Nae is not a he, but a she, by looking at some very big unusual stuff. Ceres declared he was just a little bit away from obtaining his goal, but Nae furiously warned the filthy human to stay away from his altar. Tyre sees this as an opportunity and intervenes with an attack, warning Nae not to dare attack Ceres. Nae, however, easily dodged. We shouldn't forget that he has 4 hands. She remarked that Ceres was really fast, like a cockroach. As she tried to aim at Ceres and attack, Bella pushed forward and Nae missed. Undeterred, Ceres leaped towards the altar, exclaiming that his antidote was almost there, but his hand was repelled by a shimmering barrier, a magic array, which sent him crashing to the wall. Nae explained that she had personally created the magic array, and that as long as she was alive, no living creature could cross it. Ceres, picking himself up, acknowledged that charging straight for the demon god's blood wasn't feasible and that they would have to defeat the boss to proceed. Suddenly, he sensed something nearby. Sadiel, battered and trembling inside a little cave, pleading with him not to make any noise and not to let Nae-sama know she was there. Nae, meanwhile, stated that her ritual required a calm and peaceful demeanor, and after killing a few of the stinky bugs, she planned to visit their town again to quell her anger. As Nae turned her attention towards Bella, who was now in danger, Ceres, realizing the peril, quickly put some kale mushrooms for Sadiel to recover her power and ran toward Bella. Just then, a system notification informed him that the female monster Sadiel had developed affection towards him, fulfilling the weapon unlocking requirements and making weapon options available. Tyr, seeing Bella in danger, urged her to escape while he held Nae back, revealing that the bone in his leg had cracked again and advising her to leave without him. Ceres, however, impatiently skipped the detailed explanation of the weapon rules, declaring he was going to rescue people and didn't have time for nonsense, and quickly chose a card. He obtained the Exploding Garment Divine Sword and charged at Nae, asking her to try his new weapon. Nae, however, dismissed Ceres' attack, revealing that Bella and Tyr were merely bait and that her true target was the speedy human cockroach, Ceres himself. She taunted Ceres, wondering how he would dodge at such close range, but Ceres retorted not to underestimate him, as he never said he was going to dodge, and attacks Nae. But it didn't do any much. Nae mockingly pointed out that despite exerting all his strength, he had only managed to graze Nae's skin without drawing blood, highlighting the gap between humans and monsters. However, then something shocking happened. Nae looked down in shock and found out that her upper clothes had been torn apart automatically. She started freaking out. Bella and Tyre stared in disbelief, with Tyr exclaiming that Ceres had stripped the boss. Ceres, holding his new sword, acknowledged that the monster was truly powerful. A description of the Exploding Garment Divine Sword explained that strikes from it cause enemies' clothes to explode, and when the enemy is naked, it triggers the ultimate move, Divine Sword Descent. Nae, now half-naked and enraged, furiously called Ceres a filthy bastard for his despicable move and roared that she was going to kill him. Sirrus outlines his strategy to attack Nay's legs to remove her lower robe, then her mask, which he believes will trigger an ultimate move to defeat her. His plan involves getting close and repeatedly using the swift body slash skill. However, a system notification reveals he only has enough magic power for 6 uses of this skill, which also has a 10-second cooldown unless used on a new target. Despite initially deeming the skill shitty, he decides to keep it active and proceeds to use Swift Body Slash. He executes the attack but misses because Nai jumped. Meanwhile, Nai expresses her annoyance at his persistent targeting of her legs, questioning if he intends to strip her completely and labeling him a filthy bastard. Undeterred, Sears prepares for another attempt. During the exchange, he is struck in the face, remarking that while his nasal bone is nearly broken, the pain is insignificant compared to a past experience with a toxin. He then counts down, presumably waiting for his skill's cooldown. Once the 10 seconds are up, he uses Swift Body Slash again, confident that at such close range, she cannot evade it. He momentarily believes he has landed a hit. However, Nay is unharmed and clarifies that she never intended to flee. She explains that her movements were restricted by a fear of exposing herself, and had that not been the case, her superior speed would have already allowed her to defeat him. She then launched an attack. As the fight continues, system notifications repeatedly informing Sears that Swift Body Slash is on cooldown. Frustrated by the length of the 10-second delay, he resolves to confront her directly. Tyre notes with surprise that Sears, previously assessed as F rank, is managing to block the boss's attacks head-on, a feat beyond the observer's B rank capabilities to intervene in. Sears then comments on the impressive attributes of his sword, claiming he can now easily counter and evade her attacks. The boss concedes that killing him is proving difficult. However, she then shifts her attention, declaring she can easily kill Bella with an injured foot, and attacks towards her. In response, Ceres activates Swift Body Slash once more, but the boss taunts him for being too slow as the attack was already launched. The boss remarks on the predictable nature of humans trying to save others, a tendency she believes leads to heroes being killed from behind, and states he has been fooled again. Realizing he cannot reach Bella in time by running, Ceres activates a system-locked ability and uses Swift Body Slash, and was able to save Cirrus. He expresses relief at having arrived just in time to protect Bella. Nay, on the other hand, curses, realizing he has managed to dodge her attack yet again. Nay suddenly remembers she has neglected to maintain the heat for the demon god's blood due to the battle. She worries that if the altar's temperature isn't sustained, her efforts will be wasted, and she will have to wait another 100 years. Simultaneously, Bella is shown looking distressed, feeling unusually hot, with an agitation value displayed at 91%, indicating that she was already feeling something for Ceres, and now she was locked in as a target, so she had even more attraction for him.